So most business owners already know that hiring a virtual assistant can free up a ton of time every week. It can remove you from busy work. It can help you build systems so that you can finally scale your business. The problem is that so many founders have limiting beliefs around hiring people in other countries. And these limiting beliefs are preventing them from taking action and really scaling their business and making more money. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through 10 very common limiting beliefs that I see across so many different business owners. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why and how you need to squash these limiting beliefs, and as a result, how that's going to help you make more money, build systems that can help you scale, and remove you from your business so that you can finally be free. So let's get into it. So the first limiting belief is that hiring a VA just costs too much money. This one's kind of funny to me because VAs are already the low cost option for hiring people in general. So if you're someone that's looking at hiring a VA for $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month for a full-time worker, and you're like, that's too much money, I can't afford that, I'd rather go spend that on some personal stuff or my rent or whatever, then you're just in the complete wrong frame of mind. You need to view every single person's salary that you hire as an investment, not a cost. These are not expenses. These are investments. These are investments back into your time. They're investments into your business, into scalable systems, into more productive workflows and more output. You as the business owner, you're a capital allocator. You need to take all the money that you have coming in through your business that's in your bank account, and you need to decide where to allocate that money in order to make more money in return. Hiring A players that are going to proactively build your business, that are going to free up your time, that are going to allow you to step back and remove yourself from the business so you can focus on a 10,000 foot view and focus on strategy and growth. Those are an amazing investment and they're worth every single penny. Now you might be listening to this and being like, okay, that sounds great. I'll have an investment mindset, but I still don't have any money. If that's you, that's okay. What you can do is you just go and hire a part-time VA. You could start and hire someone even like 10 to 15 hours a week. At that point, you can hire someone for like $200 a month. Everyone can come up with $200 a month. I don't care who you are. Go and get a no interest credit card for 12 months. Put their salary on the credit card for the year. It's only $200 a month. If you have a viable business where you're actually going to be able to go make some money and you're not comfortable risking $200 a month, I'll tell you right now, you ain't gonna make it. There's no way to build a business with absolutely zero risk. And there's no way to hire human beings with absolutely zero risk. The great thing about VAs and why I really love educating you guys on how to hire people and how to work with VAs successfully is that they're incredibly low risk. Hiring people for 1/10 of the cost of US salaries allows you to take significantly less financial risk and have significantly more upside, making entrepreneurship a lot easier and less stressful. At the end of the day, what you really need to think about and the way that you need to frame this up mentally in your mind is you need to think about your hourly rate. Let's say it's $25, $50, maybe $500 or even $1,000 an hour. And you need to compare that to what you're paying the VA, because every hour that you're able to free up that's worth $500 an hour, where you pay someone $5, $6 an hour to do that, you're really making that spread in the middle in terms of your productive output back. And at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, you only have so much time in the day. So every hour that you spend building your business needs to be maximized. And any hour that you spend not maximizing your time needs to be analyzed and then eventually delegated to someone else. Moral of the story, start thinking about hiring people as an investment. And no, this is not biased because I have a service where I help you go and hire the top remote talent all around the world for $4 to $8 an hour, where we do all the work for you and you don't have to lift a finger and we literally give you the best people on a silver platter. I'm not biased because of that. This is just a fact of business, of entrepreneurship, and of life. Every successful business owner knows that investing into A-player talent is one of the highest and best uses of their money humanly possible. And with VAs, not only are you paying 90% lower costs, but you should be saving on average at least $30,000 per year per hire for lower level jobs, and upwards of 6 figures in salaries per year for more sophisticated roles. Easily. All right, limiting belief number 2, I don't have time to train somebody or to onboard someone. So this belief to me is like basically saying, hey, I don't have time to be successful. Well, guess what? You need to make the time to train somebody and you need to make the time to onboard someone. Now, I haven't found a business out there that I can personally run that doesn't require hiring people, onboarding them, training them, and managing them. If you have a business model that I could replicate where I don't have to deal with anyone at all, please send me a message. Would love to start that business business right away. But until then, with the 3 businesses that I'm currently involved with, they require me to hire people to train them and onboard them. And more than likely, unless you have some kind of app or software business that you started, you're gonna have to do the same thing. So what you need to do is you need to make the time to train people and to onboard them. And one way that you can save time doing this is really just by having your ducks in a row. Let me give you an example. So I just hired another sales guy the other day. Now, in the past, when I hired my first couple of salespeople, I didn't have any training materials. I would have to meet with them one-on-one. I would have to have them shadow me in calls. It was a very laborious process. It was very inefficient. It took a long time to get them up to speed to the point where they were productive and they could make decisions and close deals without. But now, since I've hired many people and since I was very strategic along the way, meaning I would record all of our trainings, I would put together SOPs with each new person that I hired. I'm now at the point where I've compiled all of those recordings, all those SOPs, all the information that I have put together for training my sales team into a single centralized place. When this new individual was hired, he came into the business. The first thing he did was watch a Loom video that I put together with instructions on how to approach the training materials. So I basically have training materials for my training materials. He watches that video, it walks him through exactly what videos to watch and what order and how to approach everything in the time frame that I'm expecting him to get it done. There's another video in there that gives him instructions on, hey, put together a Google Doc, take some notes in it. As you're going through the training materials on your own, doing your self-study, as I call it, write down what kind of questions you have. So that way, when we meet after the first 2 days of you doing your self-training, you can come prepared with a list of questions. We'll go over them, we'll bang them out, boom, we'll move on. The other thing that helps significantly when you're hiring people to cut down on training and to really get them up to productivity as fast as possible is really just experience. If you go and hire someone with no experience, there's gonna be a lot more heavy lifting up front, as opposed to if you go and find someone with the experience that you're already hiring for, obviously. All right, limiting belief number 3 that's holding founders back from hiring VAs, scaling, making a lot more money is, what if they don't work out? I'll be stuck or I'll be screwed. Now, this one is very reasonable. I wouldn't say it's completely a limiting belief because it could totally happen. But if you just have this belief set in stone and you just don't take action because of it, you do need to squash it. There's a number of things that you could do to help mitigate risk and to not eliminate this problem, but help reduce the probability of the problem occurring as much as possible. So the first thing you need to do when you're looking to hire somebody is you obviously need to screen and vet them properly. And then part of the interview process, you need to include a test task. I talk about this all the time. You basically want to get a sample of what it's like to work with them before you actually work with them. A quick example could be, let's go back to the sales role. Let's say you're hiring a salesperson, you're in the interview. At the end of the interview, you could be like, hey, it's really important that you can think on your feet, blah, blah, blah. You give them some context. Sell me on why I should hire you. Right then and there, you're going to see how they react to pressure, how they react to being put on the spot, and you're going to see if they can actually sell. If they give you a cookie cutter generic answer with like, hey, I've got the skills and I've got the experience and like all this fluff that no one cares about, then you ditch them. If they give you a really convincing, well thought out answer and you can see that they're just someone who gets it, then that tells you something else. So screening people, vetting them, interviewing them, that's one part of the equation to help mitigate risk. The other one is really goes back to what I was talking about earlier in the video, having clear and systematized onboarding and training systems, having your ducks in a row, adequately preparing the person for the role, setting them up for success. And then also having clear metrics as to what determines success. And then also as a part of your onboarding process, you need to set very clear expectations as to what you're expecting the person to do, even when it comes down to like little day-to-day stuff like show up on time, text me when you're going on your lunch, whatever it is that you want them to do to make sure the relationship goes as planned. And then also you give them all their KPIs that they need to hit. Most of the time when it doesn't work out for the business owner, when they hire a VA, a lot of the times it's something the business owner had control over and something that they could have done differently, where if they did, the relationship would have been successful. Sure, there could be a possibility where the VA quits or they ghost you or something like that happens. Of course, it's not a 0% chance. With us, I like to believe it's a very low probability, but you're still hiring a human being, so there's always some probability. Part of what's great about our service is that we actually give you a 6-month guarantee. Yes, literally half a year. So that if you do run into an issue with the person where they ghost you, efficiency, or maybe they're not performing to how you were expecting them to. We just go and replace them completely for free. That's very different than if you were gonna go hire them yourself, because if they don't work out, you gotta go post a job again. You have to interview more people. You have to go through all the heavy lifting. It's basically a huge pain in the butt. Okay, limiting belief number 4 is I'm the only one who can do it right, or no one can do it as good as I can. This one is a massive limiting belief. You need to delete this from your brain, delete this from your vocabulary, and just kick it as far out of your life as humanly possible. This is the trap that so many people run into, that so many amateur or beginner entrepreneurs run into. They basically create a business where they're the bottleneck. They become a solopreneur where they're the only one doing the work. I will tell you right now, for those of you that are thinking this way, but maybe you're not too far down your entrepreneurial journey, the direction that you're headed in is not a good direction, okay? You're gonna get burned out, you're gonna get stressed out, you're not gonna have a good time. The way that you can have a good time is you hire people to support you. You hire people, you build systems and processes like I talk about all the time. Another thing to note is that many times when people think like this, they're not even actually that good at whatever it is that they're doing. They have this fear of like, okay, I'm gonna hire somebody and like, they're not gonna do as good of a job as I am, but they're not even doing a good job in the first place. What many people find out, and honestly, what I've found out so many times on my own with me hiring people, is that the people I hire are significantly better than I am at the job. And like, I don't care. I don't have an ego in this. That's a great thing. If I'm not hiring people that are better than me, then I'm failing as a founder, as the recruiter, as the person that's looking to attract and retain talent. My goal, honestly, at this point is to go find as many people as humanly possible who are smarter than I am, who are better than I am, and just surround myself with those people, because honestly, selfishly, that benefits me the most. Now, alternatively, let's say you actually are incredibly good at whatever it is that you're worried about someone's not going to be as good as you about. Most of the time, if you can get someone who's like 70 to 80% as good as you at a given role, project, task, whatever it is, that's going to be good enough. And the benefits of having that time back and all that work getting done for you far exceeds the like 20% gap. So how do you increase the chances of this person being as good as you as humanly possible if you are one of the exceptions where you're actually good at something, which, let's be honest, you might not be? You do everything I was talking about earlier. You delegate a little at a time. You ease the person into the role. You have well-documented training and onboarding systems and SOPs. You teach the person how to think, not just what to do. You don't want to create a task doer. You want to create someone who can think strategically, someone who's proactive, someone who can go and improve what you're already doing. In the beginning, you need to have at least weekly check-ins to course correct, see how they're doing, pivot, go from there. Moral of the story, 80% done by someone else is just as good, if not maybe even better than 100% done by you, because of the time that you're saving. All right, limiting belief number 5. This one is kind of like laughable to me at this point, but to be honest and to be fair, it's still incredibly common amongst many US founders. It's about communication barriers, English fluency, and just like problems talking to each other. This one is so incredibly easy to screen for. All you do is you get a video introduction of the person applying for the job. You watch the video introduction. If their accent's too strong, if their English is not on point, if you don't see yourself having very natural, organic, easy conversations with them, you just get rid of them. Right now, we screen over 50,000 people every single month. It's insane. It's literally hundreds of thousands of people a year. That's like 600,000 people a year that we're screening. So think about it. Out of 600,000 people that are applying for our clients' jobs, based on how many people speak perfect English in the world, I'm sure you could see how it's really not a big deal. We end up finding more than enough people with good English. And if you've ever traveled anywhere in the world, whether it's Latin America or the Middle East or Africa or Asia or wherever, you'll quickly see that because English is the universal language of the world, plenty of people speak English. Don't worry about that. I'm not even going to spend that much time talking about this one. Moral of the story, just, it doesn't matter. Squash the belief. Let's move on. All right, limiting belief number 6 is time zones are going to make work challenging. It's going to make management difficult. What do I do about this? This is also, to me, at this point, personally, just because I've been doing this for so long, so silly. I would highly encourage you to just get over this immediately. But to give you a little bit of education and some context to help you in your journey getting over it, what I will say is that, first of all, Latin America, those guys are aligned with Central and Eastern time. in the US. So depending on where you live in the US, that doesn't matter at all. Now, let's go to the Philippines, for example. So yeah, their time zones are pretty much flipped compared to the US. Here's the thing about the Philippines, the number one industry in their entire country, this is literally the bedrock of their economy, is what's called the BPO industry, business process outsourcing. Think back office functions, call centers, accounting, stuff like that. Corporate America has been outsourcing jobs there for decades. And as a result, what's really interesting and like kind of hard to wrap your head around if you haven't interacted with people in the Philippines or gone there, and if you're just living in the US your whole life, is that they effectively have this like subculture there of people who are used to working the graveyard shift or the night shift. There's literally millions of people who have been working the night shift their entire careers. It's not like they're going to be jumping into this for the first time with you and like they've been working the day shift their whole life and now they're working from home and they have to flip their sleep schedule. No, everyone that I've hired, they've been doing it for like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. They're effectively just like a nocturnal human being at this point. Moral of the story, no matter where you hire in the world, whether it's Latin America where the time zones are aligned with the US or in another country where they're not perfectly aligned with the US, you will find people that are used to working US hours, and working for you isn't going to be some kind of new transition for them. Limiting belief number 7, I don't know what tasks to delegate, therefore I just don't really want to delegate. So to this one, I'll make a similar comment about what I said before about not having time to train people. If you're thinking this way, you're not thinking in an optimal way that's going to lead to success. If you just don't know what tasks to delegate and therefore you just choose not to delegate, you pretty much just said, hey, I don't know what to do to succeed. I'm just going to not succeed. Again, in order to build a business, you need to hire people. In order to hire people and give them work to do, you got to figure out what to delegate. Sometimes this just comes down to you sitting down and making a list of all the stuff that you work on every day. And sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what kind of work I can give the person to do. But the answer to that is like literally anything that you work on day to day, anything that you spend your time on, or you wish you could spend your time on, or something that you need done that you don't even know how to do. Basically any phone or computer work, you can delegate to someone else. Here's some practical tips on how to figure out what to delegate. Number 1, just do an audit of your time. What are you working on day to day? 2, compare those tasks on a dollar per hour value basis versus what your time is worth. Anything below your time, delegate immediately. What are you working on that's repetitive? Maybe it's not even that hard. What do you hate working on? What do you want to get off your plate? What are you not even good at? A good place to start is the simple stuff: admin work, customer service, repetitive functions. Then after you get the more simple, repetitive stuff off your plate, you get some experience delegating, you get some experience hiring people and managing them and doing all the stuff that I'm talking about. Then maybe you can move on to some more sophisticated roles and tasks. Limiting belief number 8 is regarding security and confidentiality concerns. Now, again, this is a limiting belief, but it is also very reasonable. And as a business owner, you obviously need to be looking out for your best interests, for safeguarding data, for safeguarding your security. You don't want to have any problems, right? Like that's the last thing you want to run into. But what I will say is you can approach this strategically and confidently and in a smart way so that it's really not a big deal and it should not hold you back from hiring remote talent. Let me give you an example. So let's say you hire someone and you're going to put them in your CRM to do some appointment setting, or they're a salesperson or whatever. With most CRMs, you're going to go in there and you're going to set up their user permissions, and there's going to be all these toggles that you can toggle on and off in terms of what they have access to. So what you do is you go in, you give them bare minimum access to what they need access to. Don't allow them to export any data. Don't allow them to refund payments or anything crazy like that. And just give them the bare minimum to what they need to do their job. And then use your best judgment as you work with the person and you build some trust with them and you see that they're a competent person and you can just kind of see that they're a good person and they've proven that to you. Then you can up the amount of permissions that they have and you just kind of ease them into the role and the amount of responsibility and access and permissions that they have over time, right? Like think about it. A lot of this just comes down to common sense. Like if you don't know somebody and you give them access to all this highly sensitive data that if they exploited, they could completely screw you over. Why would you ever do that? You don't know the person. So just don't be paranoid, but go into it and be like, okay, here's a person I don't know. I hired them, so at least I have some level of confidence and trust in them that they're probably going to do a good job. But again, they're a person you don't know for sure. So obviously time will tell. So just ease into things, start small, and then grow over time. The other thing you can do, which is incredibly helpful and I highly recommend, is do some background checks. Get some references from their previous employers. Ask about their character, talk to them, see if they're a trustworthy person. Limiting belief number 9 really comes down to quality control and just quality of work, making sure everything gets done and it's getting done to the standard that you're expecting. So this isn't really just a VA thing. This is just like you're working with human beings, and human beings are always going to have some kind of level of errors that they're going to be making in their work type of thing. So what do you need to do as a founder to increase quality, to decrease errors, and to make sure you're just getting the biggest bang for your buck possible? You need to build in some kind of quality checklist. And in doing so, you need to provide specific criteria to the person you hired about their task completion and what success looks like. If you don't clearly spell it out to them, don't assume they're gonna read your mind. Don't assume that their standard is gonna match your standard. Depending on what you're doing, maybe it's a multi-phase project. You wanna build in some review stages before the final delivery to the client. Have some quality control in place. You need to have proper training in place, proper SOPs, decision trees, showing them how to do what in every type of scenario. You need to have ongoing process development, ongoing coaching and upskilling. You need to invest time into the person and into providing constructive criticism to help them grow into their role. So it really comes down to good training, good onboarding, having quality control processes in place, and also ongoing coaching and performance feedback to help them get better and better. But look, if you have a belief that because you're hiring in Mexico or Colombia or Philippines or whatever, just outside the US, that the work quality is just gonna be lower by default, I can tell you, like, I'm not even BSing you, with 100% confidence, that's just not true. That right there is a massive limiting belief that a lot of people unfortunately do have. But I'll tell you right now, look, like I've hired a ton of people in the US and I've hired like 20x more outside the US. And if I'm going to compare the work quality of the people in the US and just my experience working with them versus the ones outside the US, to be honest, like the ones outside the US are better. So like not only is this a limiting belief that's preventing you from taking action because you think the work quality is going to be lower, but it's not even a limiting belief. It's like a completely backwards belief that's not even true. Now, this doesn't hold true for everyone that you're going to hire outside the US, right? If I told you that was the case, that would be a massive generalization. Your ability to locate and hire people outside the US that are producing higher work quality than the people that you would hire locally in the US really comes down to casting a huge net when you're recruiting, like screening tons and tons of people, properly vetting them, screening and interviewing them, and then lastly, onboarding and training them successfully and efficiently. If you do all those things correctly, you can find some absolute rock stars. Now, if you don't do those things successfully, you could have a bad time. And I think that's why a lot of people do have this belief, is because they're inexperienced entrepreneurs. They don't know how to interview people. They don't know what to look for. They don't know how to train them. Like they just don't know what they're doing. Maybe they went and hired someone for too low of a labor cost, and then they didn't give them any direction, they didn't give them training, and then it didn't work out because of those reasons. And then they now have this belief of like, oh, this doesn't work. That's just not the case at all. Okay, limiting belief number 10 is about finding reliable and skilled candidates, people who are gonna take the job seriously, people who are gonna treat this like their career, not just like a freelancing side hustle. This really ties in with belief number 9 that I just went over. In order to do this, you have to have a great screening process. You need to go through a ton of candidates. That's why we're so valuable. We go through 50,000 people a month. It's crazy. And then you need to interview them. You need to screen them properly. You've got to have all that dialed in, down to a science. You've got to know exactly what you're looking for to a T. And then once you hire the person, you need to train them and get them up to speed as fast as humanly possible. You also need to have that completely dialed in. Some of the smartest people that I've hired live in countries like the Philippines or Colombia. They're incredibly reliable. The opportunity that they get working for my company pays more. They get to work from home. They eliminate their 4-hour commute daily that they were doing. And to be honest, I think it's a lot cooler working for me than it is the big company that they were previously working for. I have a great company culture. I've done that very intentionally, and I do that to retain and attract the best people. So because of my front end hiring and recruitment and interview process, and because of my back end onboarding, training, and the culture of my company, the two combined have attracted, found, and retained the best people humanly possible, which ends up in me getting highly skilled and reliable candidates. Obviously, you could get a highly skilled person and they're not reliable. You need to be able to spot those red red flags when you're interviewing people early on. When this is done properly, you can find amazing people, you can build very successful teams, and like I said before, you can hire a lot of people that are more skilled than you. Maybe they're smarter than you, better than you at certain roles. And when you're able to do that successfully and you have everyone in place and they're all productive and working together very seamlessly, the progress that you can make in your business is not even close to where you were at when you were doing everything yourself. All right, so those are 10 limiting beliefs that hopefully I just got you over that you have to understand before you hire a VA. If you understand these, you're gonna be able to hire with way more confidence and you're gonna get the results that you're looking for. More time, more freedom, and ultimately a business that's gonna grow without you being present, without your involvement. You're not gonna be the bottleneck and it's gonna make you a lot more money. And look, if you don't wanna figure this out all yourself, we've helped well over 1,000 business owners at this point place trained and vetted VAs into their business who actually stick around for the long term. Whether it's an admin role, a sales role, an operations role, we handle literally everything for you from end to end. You can hit that link below to book a free call. We'll walk you through exactly how our service works, how we're gonna help you find the best talent humanly possible all across the world so you can finally get that rock star virtual assistant.